Hello friends, welcome you all on this online lecture series. So today we are going to discuss related to the point called as the forces on a submerged bodies, that is also called as a drag and lift force. So here you are observing that there is one sport car which is passing over a road. So whenever that sport car will pass over a road, so surrounding to that sport car there will be the atmospheric air. So as that car is in motion, so whatever surrounding air will be there, that surrounding air will act the pressure forces, that will act the forces on this object that is called as the sport car. So whatever forces will be acting, so here that car will be called as a submerged body which is submerged inside the surrounding fluid. So here whatever these forces will be there, those will be called as a drag and lift force. So in this video we are going to study in detail related to the drag and lift. So the points which we are going to cover under this video, those are nothing but first point will be related to the introduction. So what is mean by drag force, what is mean by lift force, how those drag and lift force will be created, that part will come under the introduction. Then forces force exerted by flowing fluid on a stationary body, that will be the another point. Then third one will be the expression for drag and lift, and last one we are going to cover the problems based on drag and lift. So let's start the video. So whenever any fluid will be passing over a stationary body, or whenever any body will be passing through a stationary fluid, or third case will be whenever body as well as fluid both are in motion with a different velocities. So in all those cases, whatever surrounding fluid will be there, that surrounding fluid will always act the forces on that stationary body, or the body which is moving through a fluid which is considered to be stationary. So here that fluid will always exert the forces on that body. So if we are going to take the various example, so first example, whenever we are going to consider the motion of very small object, that means if I am going to consider the fine sand particle in a air or water, so whenever that sand particle will be passing through air or water, that air or water will always act the forces on that sand particle. So here sand particle will be considered as a immersed object or submerged object. Another example will be in general example, that means we have seen that aeroplane, submarine or automobiles or ship, those are moving either through water or air. So whenever aeroplane is moving through air, so whatever air will be there, that air will act the forces on that aeroplane. Whenever submarine will passing through water, that water will act the forces on that submarine. Automobiles, whenever those automobiles will be passing over a road, so surrounding air will always act the pressure forces or forces on that automobile. In case of ship also, whenever that ship is passing through a water, so water as well as air is acting the forces on that ship. So whatever those various forces are there, those are called as a forces acting on a submerged bodies. So another example, building or bridge. Here building or bridge is considered as an object which is stationary one, and over that air or water is passing. So whenever that air or water is passing over that building or bridge, that air or water will always act the forces on that building or bridge. So almost in all the engineering field, problem involving the flow of fluid around the subject body or objects are encountered. So it is for that purpose it is necessary to study related to various forces which are acting in a submerged bodies. So here next point we are going to cover, that is nothing but force exerted by flowing fluid on a stationary body. Consider we are having one stationary body. Suppose this is a stationary body which is having the arbitrary shape, and if I am going to keep this stationary body in a flowing fluid, so suppose here whatever fluid is there, that fluid is moving or towards this direction, that fluid is having the uniform velocity as a u. So whenever that fluid will pass over this stationary body, whenever that fluid will pass over this stationary body, so this fluid will act the forces on this stationary body. So here if I am considering the FR is nothing but the total force which is acting on this stationary body because of immersing this stationary body in a flowing fluid. So that whatever total force will be there, that total force will be always perpendicular to the plane of that stationary body. So here FR is nothing but the total force which is acting on the stationary body because of immersing this stationary body inside the flowing fluid which is having the velocity as a u, and that FR is always perpendicular to the plane of stationary body. Now here whatever FR, that is total force component, is there, if I am going to resolve this total force component along the direction of motion and perpendicular to the direction of motion, so the component of total force along the direction of motion will be called as the drag force, and the component of total force FR perpendicular to the direction of motion, that will be called as a lift force. So always there will be two type of forces. First one will be called as a drag force, second one will be called as a lift force, which will be acting in a stationary body which is immersed in a fluid. So we will see the definitions of drag force and lift force. So we are knowing that drag force is nothing but the component of total pressure, component of total force FR in the direction of motion of the fluid, called as a drag force, whereas lift force is called as a component of total force FR perpendicular to the direction of motion, that will be called as a lift force. So one important point here we have to study. So whatever lift force will be there, this lift force is occurring only and only if the stationary object is inclined to the direction of fluid. So here if you are going to see, if you are considering this as the axis of this stationary body, so this axis of stationary body is inclined to the direction of motion, then and then only that lift force will act. If that axis of stationary body is not inclined to the direction of flowing fluid, then that lift force will not act. That means for stationary body, when we are going to consider that stationary body as a horizontal to that or in the direction of motion or perpendicular to the direction of motion, then in that case the value of lift force will be equal to 0. So we have to take the note of lift force occurs only when the axis of body is inclined to the direction of flowing fluid, and if the axis of body is parallel to the flowing fluid, then the value of lift force will be always 0. Now we'll take another example. So common example, aeroplane. So whenever any aeroplane is passing through a atmosphere, so here if the motion of aeroplane is towards this direction, so whatever surrounding air will be there, that surrounding air will flow towards this direction over that aeroplane. So that surrounding air will always act the forces. So the component of force along the direction of motion of that fluid, so that fluid is, or air is passing towards this direction, that's why component of force along the direction of motion will be called as a drag force, and here thrust will be created because of that aeroplane or engine component of that aeroplane or power generation inside the aeroplane. So here because of this thrust and drag, that aeroplane will be moving in the forward direction, and whatever weight of aeroplane will be there, that will be always acting in the vertically downward direction, but whatever perpendicular or the force component perpendicular to the direction of motion will be there, that will be called as a lift force. Because of this drag and lift force only, that aeroplane can fly inside the aeroplane inside the air. So there are some important points that should be noted about the drag and lift force. So first point, as we are knowing that lift force is, or lift force will be generated only if the axis of stationary body is inclined to the flowing fluid. So production of lift force, always we have to keep in mind that production of lift force requires asymmetry of the flow while drag force always exists. Second, it is impossible to create the lift without drag. That means here drag force always exists in any of the component which is immersed in a fluid. So it is impossible to create the lift without drag, but it is possible to create the drag without lift. So it is not the case that always lift will be exist in the stationary fluid, stationary object which is immersed in a body, but there should be the in each and every case there will be the drag force, and any object moving through a fluid will experience the drag. It is nothing but third point. So one important point we have to remember. So if I am going to consider the fluid in which we have immersed an object or stationary body, if I am considering that fluid as a ideal fluid, and whatever body I am going to immerse, if that body is a symmetrical such as sphere or cylinder, then and then only the value of drag force is equal to value of lift force, which is equal to 0. So value of drag force is equal to value of lift force is equal to 0 when symmetric body is immersed in a ideal fluid. So this point we have to keep in mind. Are you ready? So now we are going to see the derivation for obtaining the values of drag force and lift force. So for that purpose I am going to consider any arbitrary shape body. Suppose this is arbitrary shape stationary body. If I am considering that A is nothing but the total area of that stationary body, and if I have immersed this stationary body in a flowing fluid, so here you can observe that the direction of flowing fluid, the direction. So if this is the flowing fluid which is having the uniform velocity as a u, and that flowing fluid is passing over a stationary body which is having the area as a. So as we are knowing that whenever any body will be immersed inside the flowing fluid, so that flowing fluid will always act the force on that body. So here Fr is nothing but the total force which is acting on this stationary body, and that total force will always act perpendicular to the plane of that stationary body. So Fr is acting towards this direction, and here the component of total force along the direction of motion will be called as a drag force, and component of total force perpendicular to the direction of motion will be called as a lift force. So here Fr is nothing but the total force which is acting on the stationary body because of immersing the stationary body inside this fluid which is having the velocity as a u. So Fd is nothing but the total drag force which is acting on this entire stationary body, that is nothing but which is the component of Fr in the direction of motion, and Fl is nothing but the total lift force which is acting on this entire stationary body, and that Fl is nothing but the perpendicular Fl is nothing but the component of Fr, that is nothing but total force perpendicular to the direction of motion. Now here we have to obtain the value of Fd and Fl, that means drag force and lift force. So to obtain the value of Fd and Fl, here I am going to convert this entire body, whatever this entire stationary body is there, I am going to convert that entire body into number of small elementary areas. So here that body will as that body is consisting of number of such small elemental area. Out of that number of such small elemental area, for study purpose I am going to consider only one elemental area which is having the area as a dA. So here I have considered this as the elemental area which is having the area as a dA. So here on this elemental area, whatever as this elemental area is immersed in a fluid, so that fluid will act the forces on this elemental area. So first force is nothing but the pressure force. So here if I am considering P as a pressure intensity which is acting on the elemental area, and as that elemental area is having the area as a dA, so PdA is nothing but the pressure force which will always act perpendicular to the plane of that elemental area. And second force is because of the shear stress. So here if I am going to consider tau 0 is nothing but the shear stress which is acting on this elemental area, then tau 0 into dA is nothing but the shear force which will be acting in this elemental area. So as this arbitrary shaped body is consisting of number of such small elemental area, so on each and every such small elemental area these two forces will be acting. That means if I am going to consider another element here, then first force will be pressure force perpendicular to the direction of motion, perpendicular to that plane elemental area. Second force is nothing but shear force which is tangential to that elemental area. So here as n number of such small elemental areas are there, so on those n number of such small elemental area, n number of pressure forces and shear forces will be acting. So here the drag force is nothing but the combination of all those forces or horizontal component of all those forces along the direction of motion, and lift force is nothing but the summation of all those pressure and shear forces perpendicular to the or component of pressure and shear forces perpendicular to the direction of motion. So here we have considered that U is nothing but uniform velocity, A is nothing but the area of arbitrary shaped body, dA is nothing but elemental area, P is nothing but the pressure intensity acting perpendicular to the small elemental area, tau 0 shear force acting along the tangential direction to the elemental area, theta. Here theta is nothing but the angle made by pressure force with the direction of flowing fluid. And here we have considered that there will be on that small elemental area dA there will be two types of forces. First one will be the pressure force which will be perpendicular to the plane of elemental area, that is nothing but P into dA, and second one is nothing but the shear force which is tangential to the direction of surface, so that is nothing but tau 0 into dA. So now obtaining the value of drag force and lift force, I have considered this elemental area dA here. So here I have taken this elemental area dA here. So pressure force which is acting on that elemental area dA is making an angle theta with the direction of motion, and that P into dA pressure force is perpendicular to the elemental area dA, and second force is nothing but tau 0 into dA, that is nothing but shear force which is tangential to that elemental area dA. Now here if we see the geometry, as P into dA is making an angle theta with the direction of motion, so here the remaining this much angle is nothing but 90 minus theta. So here as P dA and tau 0 dA, those are the perpendicular component. So here if I am considering this as a 90 minus theta, so here this component, that means tau 0 dA along with vertical direction, that will be the angle theta, and this remaining angle will be again 90 minus theta. So this is the geometry. Now as we are knowing that drag force is always acting in the horizontal direction, so here there are number of such small element, and on those number of such small element, on each and every element there will be two types of forces. First one is the pressure force, the second one will be the shear force. So if I am going to take the component of pressure force and shear force along the direction of motion, and if I am going to make the summation of all those components which are acting on all those small element, then summation of all those components of pressure force and shear force in the direction of motion will be called as a drag force. So here for elemental area dA, if I am going to calculate the value of drag force which is acting on that elemental area dA, so here P into dA or component of P into dA along the direction of motion. So here along the direction of motion, that component will be P dA cos theta, and tau dA along the direction of motion, so that will be tau 0 dA cos 90 minus theta. So drag force which is acting on that elemental area dA is nothing but P dA cos theta, and tau 0 dA cos 90 minus theta, as cos 90 minus theta becomes as a sin theta. So that drag force acting on that elemental area is nothing but P dA cos theta plus tau 0 dA sin theta. So this is nothing but the drag force which is acting on this elemental area dA, and as that arbitrary shaped body is consisting of number of such small elemental area, so here drag force acting on the entire body, so that will be calculated by taking the integration of this equation. So here that means by taking the summation of all those pressure and shear force component along the direction of motion. So total drag force acting on the entire body will be given by equation integration of this plus integration of this. So integration of P into dA into cos theta plus integration of tau 0 dA sin theta. So that will be called as a total drag force which is acting on this entire body. So this was nothing but the drag force which is acting on a single elemental area, and as that arbitrary body is consisting of number of such small elemental area, so drag force on the entire body will be given by taking the integration or by taking the summation of all the component of pressure and drag shear force acting on all those small elemental area. So here whatever this P integration of P into dA cos theta term is there, that term will be called as a pressure drag. Integration of P dA cos theta term is called as a pressure drag, or that is also called as a form drag. And whatever another term is there, that is nothing but integration of tau 0 dA sin theta, that term is called as a shear drag, that is also called as a friction drag, or that is also called as a skin drag. So term integration of P dA cos theta is called as a pressure drag or form drag. The term integration of tau 0 dA sin theta called as a shear drag or friction drag or skin drag. So as total drag force acting on entire body is nothing but the summation of integration of P dA cos theta, that is called as a pressure drag, and summation of integration of tau 0 dA sin theta, that is called as a skin drag or friction drag. So total drag force is nothing but summation of friction drag plus pressure drag. So to understand the concept of this friction drag or pressure drag, consider one stationary object which is immersed in a flowing fluid. So suppose over that stationary object fluid is passing. So as that fluid is passing over that stationary object, there will be the various forces which will be acting on this stationary object. So as drag force is always acting in the direction of motion, so here whatever this red part you are observing, so here as that fluid is passing towards this direction, so here the force which is acting on this area will be there, so that it will be mainly because of the friction. So whatever this drag force will be there, that will be called as a skin drag, or that is also called as a friction drag. And here as that fluid is passing over this object, so there will be the separation of boundary towards this direction, and because of this separation of boundary towards this direction, whatever force will be acting opposite to the direction of motion, that will be called as a pressure drag, or that is also called as a form drag. And that pressure drag or form drag is acting mainly because of the flow separation. So this component of drag force which is in the direction of motion called as a skin drag or friction drag, and the component of drag force opposite to the direction of motion because of which is generated because of flow separation, that is called as a pressure drag or form drag. Now related to the lift, same object. So here P dA making an angle theta with the direction of motion, tau 0 dA making an angle theta perpendicular to the direction of motion. So here as we are knowing that lift force is nothing but the component of total force perpendicular to the direction of motion, called as a lift force. So here number of such small elemental areas are there, on which number of small elemental area two type of forces will be acting, pressure force, shear force. So if I am going to take the component of pressure force and shear force perpendicular to the direction of motion, so that component of pressure force and shear force perpendicular to the direction of motion will form the lift force. So here the component of force due to pressure force and shear force perpendicular to the direction of motion will be called as the lift force. If I want to calculate the lift force which is acting on this elemental area, so I will take the component of pressure force perpendicular to the direction of motion. So perpendicular to the direction of motion, that will become as a PdA sin theta, but direction of that PdA sin theta will be vertically downward direction, and component of this shear force perpendicular to the direction of motion, that will become as a tau 0 dA cos theta, or that is nothing but sin 90 minus theta. So here as PdA is acting in the vertically downward direction, tau 0 dA is acting in the vertically upward direction. So PdA sin theta will be considered as a negative, tau 0 dA cos theta, that is nothing but sin 90 minus theta, will be considered as a positive. So this equation will become minus PdA sin theta plus tau 0 dA cos theta. So here this is nothing but the lift force which is acting on the single elemental area, as that stationary object is consisting of number of such small elemental area. That's why total lift force acting on this entire stationary body will be the summation of all those pressure component and shear component, or pressure force component and shear force component perpendicular to the direction of motion. That means we have to take the integration of this equation. So hence total drag force acting on entire body will be taken or will be given by taking the integration of this equation. So that is nothing but integration of minus PdA sin theta, integration of minus PdA sin theta plus tau 0 dA cos theta, that will be called as a total drag force acting on this entire body. So whatever equation 1, that is nothing but total lift force acting on the entire body, and equation 2, total drag force acting on this entire body is there. So those are the equation of total drag force and total lift force. But in general, if I am considering body which is moving through a fluid having mass density rho at a uniform velocity u, the mathematical expression for calculation of drag and lift force will be given by, so first one, drag force will be given by equation Fd is equal to Cd a rho u square upon 2, and lift force will be given by equation Cl a rho u square upon 2, whereas a is nothing but the projected area, rho is nothing but the density or mass density of the fluid, u is nothing but the uniform velocity of the flowing fluid. So the total force acting on the entire body will be taken by taking the under square root of Fd square plus Fl square. So in this term, whatever Cd term is there, that will be called as the coefficient of drag, that will be the dimensionless term. Whatever Cl term is there, that will be called as a coefficient of lift, that will be again dimensionless term. Then rho is nothing but the density of the fluid, u is nothing but the relative velocity of the fluid with respect to body, and a is called as a projected area. So here, while taking the projected area, we have to consider that if I am going to calculate the drag force, then the projected area will be taken as a area A is taken as a projected area on a plane perpendicular to the relative motion of the fluid, and while considering the value of lift force, whatever projected area we are going to consider, that should be the right angle to the direction of lift force. So this is the equation to obtain the drag force, this is the equation to obtain the lift force, and this is the formula to calculate the total force which is acting on the entire body. Now we have to solve some problems based on the drag and lift.